Okay, so this is pretty serious, right? And this is not even that bad. I've seen people with worse. Or am I just trying to make an excuse for the fact that I just have too many sketchbooks? And these are different types of sketchbooks. These are sketchbooks for markers. These are sketchbooks for normal sketches, doodles, drawings. I have for watercolor, pastel, ink, you name it, I got it. It's summertime, and that means we're gonna sketch. I think sketching is a pretty decent, light weight of creating art. You don't really have the pressure of having to present something, or it needs to be sold, or it needs to be looking good, or it needs to be this, that, and whatever reason you might have for creating sketches. Sketches are pretty, they're lightweight work. It's not that hard. It's not that hard. Another advantage of sketching is that you do not fall back, right? When you take a break, yes, I said it. I know I said it. Not doing anything is actually a great exercise for artists. And trust and believe, I have my moments that I'm just not doing anything. Being here, not having that pressure, and just allowing whatever comes to mind is a great way of also keeping myself at a certain level and above. You do not lose your skill set. You keep on practicing molding and operating the skill set. And number 3, I'm still an artist. I'm still gonna create. Okay? Regardless, I'm still gonna create. That pressure is off. We turned it off for the summertime. So we're gonna turn it off. It doesn't mean that if I create something really, really, really good, like I did with this one, which I'm gonna talk about in another video, that I won't sell it, that I won't do something with it, all right? Just not in a high pressure moment where I'm like, oh, it needs to be done now. I see it, I like it, and I'm gonna do something with it. We're gonna talk about it in another video of what it is that I'm gonna present. So I'm definitely gonna put this one in the store. I'm just gonna look in a way of how I want to do it, right? And how I also saw a certain elevation in the way that I presented my illustrations. So that's also an important part. But for today, we are just going to sit down, sketch, and maybe in between time have a chit chat. I don't know what's going to be, what it will give, right? What it will bring forth. If this is going to be a talking session, me talking about something, or it's just you going to be watching this, all right? We need to fill this book up. And it's a pretty hefty book, as you can see. I got this actually, this sketching book. I got this from my younger brother as a gift. So I do need to do something with it, and I do want to fill it up. Look, it is absolutely a beautiful sketching book. The size is beautiful. It could be kind of, intimidating for people that are like, ooh, that's a lot. Do I need to fill up all of it? No, of course not. You don't have to do anything. But I do. I want to fill it up. That's what I would like to do. That's what I want to do. And because it's a gift, I want to fill it up with things that, you want to look back at. That's what sketchbooks are for. To create beautiful art, to get inspired, and also use it as your own reference book, which brings me actually to another advantage. I didn't even think about that. It is your own place where your mind gets to be free. You create your own reference book. You can always go back like, well, I had an idea somewhere, sometime, someplace. This is a great moment to do it. I don't want to say it's less effort, but I want to say it's more of a laissez-faire, more of a relaxed, nonchalant way of working. The reason why I also like doing this, I get to use my other materials, all right? My markers. I get to use my markers. These are from Winsor & Newton. This notebook is from Winsor & Newton. The paper is absolutely, it's this off-white. Don't mind the marks because these are from the previous doodles that I've been making. But this is off-white, and it is just smooth and nice, sturdy paper. The back side is a little bit more texture, just slightly textured, but the upper side is just so smooth. Let's get to work. All right, so the rest of this video will be me talking. And I was kind of hesitating if I wanted to talk or just wanted you to enjoy me watching, or actually doodling. You are watching, I'm doodling. It's the other way around. I'm not gonna cut this out. Mistakes happen. But yeah, I was kind of doubting because I really don't know if y'all appreciate me talking through my own videos. Wait a minute, there's a scooter coming by. Yeah, it's a scooter coming by. So I don't know if y'all really appreciate that. If you do, put it here below in the comments. If you would like to see more videos where I'm not talking, I do have a playlist that I call Paint, Chill, and Brush, something like that. I will put it here above in the corner. And there you can see all videos where I'm not talking. So I'm definitely going to add sketching videos to that. So it's just watching, just chill music and just watching. So the first thing that I want to talk about is, of course, what it is I'm going to sketch. And I decided to do something totally out of the ordinary, something I've done in ages. I haven't done in ages, and that is just making patterns. And I gotta tell you, I kind of felt uncomfortable. It is an uncomfortable process when you start something that you have not done in a long time or have not done before. Nevertheless, it should be an encouragement for you to do it anyway, to see what will come out of it, whether you will like it or not. For me, the fact that I'm using markers to color the patterns, you will see it yourself when you're watching the video. It will not be as vibrant, and it has to do with the fact that this is paper. This is not marker paper. The beauty of marker paper is that it does not absorb the liquid within the marker. It has a beautiful capacity to delay the amount of liquid that is being absorbed into the paper, which gives you absolutely a different result than what you would have if you're drawing on normal paper, this particular paper, which is a pretty heavy grade of paper. So the thing that I wasn't disappointed about it, but I already knew what the outcome would be. So I was more concentrated on having the patterns and not so much on having a certain vibrancy, a certain contrast, because y'all already know I love color and I draw in high contrast. But the fun thing about sketching is that I don't have to do that all the time. I just can use as few colors if I want to. Sure, I can do that also with painting, but it's not my style though. It is okay for you to have different styles, which brings me to the first thing that I want to talk about, and that is the variation of having multiple styles. I am on Threads, and on TikTok, I love taking questions and subjects that I found on Threads and discuss them there as cases, like learning cases, and give my point of view on that. I think it's a great way to show people that the questions that you have, that I might have, that we all have when it pertains to art in general, the business, the longevity of having an art career, of having an art business, we all have them, the ups and downs. It is a beautiful way of discussing that and making it less painful, less obscure, and make it more transparent, giving a take on it. So when it comes to the subject of having multiple multiple ways of having inspiration, multiple ways of working, multiple ways of using mediums, multiple ways of having styles even. There's a lot of back and forth, and it's pretty polarized. So you definitely have a very clear group that says if you have multiple styles and people cannot know who you are as an artist, what you stand for, what is it that you have to offer. And then you have a clear-cut group that says, well, what if I'm a multi-potentialite? What if I have multiple styles and I don't want to pick them? What if it serves different niches of my audience, different segments of my audience? What if I like different categories and I do not want to pick one? So anybody who falls in between, I don't think those groups are really that big. It's pretty polarized. Either you are, either you're not. Right? It's one or the other. One or the two. And something that I've noticed for myself in the beginning when I started is that I actually dreaded the fact that I had different ways of creating. I could definitely see that I have an illustrative way, I have a sketchy way of drawing. I could tend going to more, the more technical side of it, but also just keep it pretty illustrative. Then when I paint, it is also different. When it comes to materials, I also work different, which I do have to say, I have to make a side note here. The way that you create your art also very much has to do with your understanding of the material that you're working with. Right? So not everybody will have the same outcome when it comes to oil paint, acrylics, pastel, graphite, charcoal, you name it. Everybody will have a different outcome. So it has to do with how do you work with the material? Do you know the material? And even though you have the several ways of working with the material, you probably have a certain way of wanting to work with it. There is a preference that you might have in it. So that's a disclaimer I'm going to make, right? Let's put that as a side note. Don't forget that. But even so, I did notice different ways of creating. And in the beginning, I dreaded it because I was like, no, I want to have one particular style because I was in the group of, I need to be recognized for my style. Now, I still believe that. I still believe that I need to be recognized for my style. But as I develop myself and I actually embrace the fact now that I have different styles, I don't see myself being in any of those categories. I see myself just being a person that allows to be the medium, and whatever material is in my hands, that is what I work with to the best of my ability, and or to the willingness to learn more about the material, the technique, what it is that I want to draw. With that being said, that is what I will do. So I don't consider myself to be a multi-potentialite. I do believe that people can have several styles. I do believe that people can have that, and people are just drawn to 1, 2, or 3. That is actually very normal. That is not out of the ordinary. And I also don't believe that it's necessary for you to have one particular style. It's not. If it's your preference, who am I to say that you can't? Who gets to say that you shouldn't? I don't believe that it is that black and white. I really don't. I think people are making a bigger issue out of it than is really necessary. It's not that necessary. We don't have to be that stark in the contrast of what should be or should not be. I can understand that when you are a student at art school or an art institution, where you graduated from art school, you're classically trained to be an artist, that you are being motivated and definitely also molded to have a signature style of how you create your work. That could work for you or against you. The way that it can work against you is that The moment that you feel that you want to differ from the thing that you are already doing is that you have to train yourself all over again in something else. Or, the moment that you need to explore something, it might be intimidating because you already have spent so much time doing the thing that you did so well for so long. It doesn't have to discourage you, but it can be discouraging when you have to start it, because what if it's not good? You have spent so much time on it, this, that, and the third. So it can have a disadvantage if you have been trained, have been molded, really whipped into place to do things a certain way, to think in a certain way, to see things in a certain way. I think I put one of my vlogs that I had on TikTok here on YouTube where I discuss why art schools do not teach their students to do business, how to be in business. And one of the things that I've said in there is because art school does not have that purpose. Art school has the purpose to teach you their curriculum. That's what you pay them for to do. So when you go to art school, you actually ask people to mold you and to give you the information so that you can be a better student of what it is that you practice. But therefore, you also will do that in a particular way. The best way is, of course, that it's going to be your way, your style, and that you're promoted to do so. The worst case scenario would be if that is in a way that is generic and everybody has to do one and the same thing, right? Basically what the school system is right now, everybody has to have one certain level and nobody can deviate from that. Any deviations from the median are already seen as outliers, of course, and therefore that is not correct. That's strange that is part of the art world as well, that people are like, well, you should have one particular style. Who says that? There are going to be outliers, and those outliers are actually the interesting parts of art. Those are the interesting parts of art, that there are outliers and that people get to choose whatever it is that they want to and even differ into that. So no, I am not of the opinion that you need to have one particular style. I'm not of the opinion that you need to have 10,000 styles or anything else. If you find one style and you like it, that's okay too. Like I already said, it's not that stark. It's not that high in contrast. It's not that polarized. Ease up on the pressure. Take the pressure off. Take the pressure off. Another subject that I'm going to talk about in closing this video is the usage of the sketchbook. So I already explained that in the beginning, how I want to use the sketchbooks, how I'll be using that this coming summer. And the thing that I hope that you will get from this video, and I'm definitely also going to make a playlist of where I'm sketching, like a sketching playlist that you can look at. The thing that I would hope for you to get from is that use your sketchbook. I hope y'all didn't hear that because I just knocked my iPad pen against the iPad. Okay, anyway. I hope that you are inspired to use a sketchbook in the way that it will suit you. Do not fall into the trap that things have to look a certain way, that you have to work neatly, and if something is not correct, then, oh gosh, the sketchbook is ruined or anything. Your sketchbook is your place of freedom where you get to let your imagination run free. The reason why I want to reiterate on that particular subject is because you see so many videos of people having these perfect sketchbooks, which I think is beautiful. I'm just not that one. I'm not that person. I'm not that person. And I think it has to do with the fact that I've accepted already that there is a margin of error, and I accept the margin of error whether I like it or not. I don't have to like it, but I accept the fact there is a margin of error. So I don't want you to feel discouraged of using your sketchbook as a playground, because that is also the way that I have learned to look at it through the years. In the beginning, I was so focused on it needs to be neat, it needs to be correct, and it's a sketchbook. So when I look back at it, I need to be able to see what it is, what I've done, what are my thoughts. Well, sometimes my thoughts are cloudy. Okay. I'm trying my best to keep it all straight and together, but sometimes the mind just goes where it wants to go, where it wants to lead me to, and it doesn't always make sense. And I want the sketchbook to also show that. When it comes to art, I don't want you to fall into the trap that says it needs to make sense to people. Let people express the emotion that they have with your art. And you are also a viewer of your own art. You also get to enjoy your artistry. That is the beauty of a sketchbook as well. I want to add that element as well, that you get to enjoy your own artistry as well. That is also for you, the consumer, the creator, but also the viewer, the observer. You get to enjoy that as well. You get to enjoy what it is that you create. Maybe you have created already before and now you want to challenge yourself. Maybe you want to think about new ideas. Like I'm sitting here like, oh, you know what? I just want to practice with patterns. And I haven't done that in a while. And I'm kind of rusty. I am. I have to admit to myself like, oh, well, for the time being, this is what I've produced and that's okay. That's okay. I'm in a space where I can do that. So I hope that this allows you to be in that same particular space where you get to enjoy that as well. You get to enjoy your artistry because there's so much pressure upon us to perform. And when it becomes performative, for your viewers, for yourself, it might be looking good, but your soul is also kind of tied into it. And even though the viewer doesn't get to see your soul, you are the bearer of the soul. You are the person who has the soul. You have to nurture that part of yourself as well. So that is a selfish take, but at the same time, a self-full take that any and every particular artist and creative needs to take in, right? So that's why I keep expressing, keep emphasizing that a sketchbook should be a playground, right? In the playground, in the sandbox, you fall, you build, you destroy, you demolish, you rebuild, you go back to old ideas, you improve, you create new ones, you take a break, you take a hiatus, you come back, you take another hiatus, you come back. All is possible. This is your sandbox. Let's go back to the time where sketchbooks. Let's go back to the time where sketchbooks. Exactly, that is what I wanted to say. Where sketchbooks are our sandbox, right? Don't get caught up in the fine print of the outside world that wants you to see, that wants to see the things perfectly done. Find the humanity back in what you do. That's basically what I wanted to say. So we're coming at the end of this video. I do hope that you all have enjoyed this. Let me know here below in the comment section what you think about it and what I've discussed so far. I would like to hear what it is that you have to say. Subscribe, like, follow, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye, y'all.